We think the future battlefield will clearly be more transparent, lethal and geographically dispersed than we'd ever seen before. And a technological revolution, part of the fourth industrial revolution, you could argue, is changing how that land battle will be fought.
It's about bringing it to life today, really changing the way people are working, the lived experience for our soldiers, absolutely fundamental.
The key element here is that that pivot to the information age, whilst already starting to aim off for the fifth industrial beyond, recognises the centrality of information and data. So you have to be invested in cyber, space, and digital. Those are non-negotiable.
I think in the long term, the ideal would be that this is not a trade-off between mass and digitalization, but really digitalization is enabling mass, right?
Digitization, digital backbone, army digital transformation are all buzzwords and concepts spread by the long-anticipated integrated review published last month. It's clear that the Army is now doubling down on efforts to embrace the necessary technologies and approaches to enhance operational effectiveness of its forces. But many wonder how that is going to be achieved. Project Theia is the name of the Army's digital transformation program. Led by the Army, Theia is also supported by 30 SMEs and will operate across all Army functions as a guide to achieve a digital asymmetric Army and contribute to multi-domain integration by seeking a more coordinated and aligned approach, breaking down silos and capturing efficiencies. Two British Army officers leading the digital transformation shared the vision behind the project during a IISS webinar on the 27th of April.
So we've really broken it down into three elements. Accelerators, which are really proof points for us across the functional directorates to get after early wins and to prove the benefits of digitization. Enablers, which is really the underpinning architecture, the data governance of data we need, the digital backbone, absolutely fundamental, enable us to deliver this digital transformation. And then the catalysts, those areas such as cybersecurity, which are absolutely fundamental to the program.
The government says Theia will foster and embed a culture of looking for and using data over preconceived hunches. And the Army believes the key to achieving the technological transformation needed is a cultural change.
So we think it's about cultural change. People become very attracted by the tech. We're all magpies deep inside maybe, and we want to go after the shiny things. But, that's not the point. And actually, getting your data right, which is the hard yards at the start of the process, is a really culturally embedded change to the way we think, valuing that data as the new oil, if you will, within our system.
Whilst a cultural change seems to really be the first piece of the puzzle, another core focus is the concept of multi-domain integration. The idea is that there needs to be an integration across the 5 domains: air, land, sea, space and cyber, and 3 levels of warfare. However, experts warn there is a thin line between the advantage of increasing efficiency at the strategic level and the consequences of fast decision-making at the tactical level.
I think one of the key aspects that I would like to look at is this idea that we would do very well not to conflate tactical and strategic decision making because of digitalization. So I think the basic concept behind all of these digitalization efforts at the end of the day, behind this idea of multi-domain integration, is really this idea of superior situational awareness brought about by information superiority, which translates into faster decision-making and an increased operational pace, right? It's this whole idea of the OODA loop that we all know about: observe, orient, decide, act.
Quick but careful, secure but networked, is what the army needs to be to gain an advantage over its adversaries. But is digitization going to compensate for a mass loss?
If we look at digitalization 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, 15 years down the road, of course, we will get different answers to this very question. I think in the short term, there may be a trade-off between mass versus digitalization. That is, certain capabilities that we will need to sacrifice in the short term in order to enable or have the resources available to really do this transformation. But I think in the long run, there shouldn't be a trade-off. I do think implicit in the integrated review is this bet that we take into account, that we actually accept a certain reduction in military capabilities in the short term in order to really have a more transformed military force or army in the medium to long term.
Gaining an operational advantage through data, it's a real game changer in modern warfare. But while it could expose adversaries' weaknesses, Britain needs to keep its guard high and consider the progress countries as China and Russia have made in the cybersphere.